Let us roll back to 2003 when the link worker scheme was being set up in Bagalkot. It is important to emphasize that we were concerned about the same sub-issues that have been detailed out in the present scheme. The link worker, we realized, cannot be just a functionary. He has to be a catalyst, a local resource with tremendous capacity to connect with the cross-section of the community. He has to go beyond words and enable people to act. He has to harness every decision maker to the cause. The link worker should ensure that the efforts of the community and the allied stakeholders are center staged. It is not him or her or the project. He has to provide constant support and hope to people living with HIV. Given this tall order, we put a lot of emphasis on key aspects which we refer as defining processes. One of our defining process was recruitment and retention. What were we seeking to do in recruitment and retention? To begin with, we were clear about our basic fundamental norms. They have to be women and men. They must be local residents of the cluster of villages they were looking after, and at least as diverse as possible. At this point, we think it is necessary to emphasize that all this seemed very easy to aspire for, but it is not necessarily easy to achieve. Having decided that we are going to make the process participatory, we had to make sure that we catalyze the consultative process with community in a meaningful manner, as meaningful as possible. We tried to ensure that the right men and women get identified as link workers. And this meant for us that the men and women emerged out of community who had experienced social marginalization. What did we mean by social marginalization? We meant that they have confronted a difficult situation as widows, as children of Devadasi, as a person living or affected by HIV/AIDS, as a person who underwent extreme vulnerabilities, such as being part of the Dalit family or Lambani family, or forced into early marriage.
Somappa Madar speaks about the early predicaments that the link workers faced. It was not about the job he was going to do, but about the age-old social biases that an intervention of this nature had to deal with in order to address an issue such as HIV.
After joining as link worker, I was scared because I am from the SC community. My working area had upper caste communities like Lingayats and Reddys. I had to visit every house to educate people on HIV/AIDS. I thought that people may not allow me to enter their houses. So I decided to hide my surname. I introduced myself as Somappa MK. We were conducting community meetings in Lingeshwara temple in Ninganur village. At that time, a relative invited me to his house. People came to know that I am from the SC community. They questioned why I had entered the temple. A panchayat member convinced the people that I was there to prevent HIV/AIDS and should not be discriminated against.
We will be interacting with many such link workers, men and women who overcame their own personal disadvantages to address the concerns of such vulnerable population, and many did this by leading from the front. This was made possible by sustained support they received from the project team.
The challenges were many. Vidya Kalyan Shetty, a link worker from Nerlakare village, found herself battling against the discrimination she faced as a widow, and more importantly, against all the social taboos and norms that she was subjected to.
ಈಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಗ್ರಾಮದೊಳಗೆ ಈಗ ಕರಿ ಕುಂಕುಮನ ಹಚ್ಕೋತಿದ್ದೆ. ಯಾರಾದರೂ ನನಗೆ ಮಹಿಳೆ ಒಬ್ಬಳು ಕುಂಕುಮ ಹಚ್ಚಿದ್ಲು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅವಳ ಗಂಡನೂ ತೀರ್ಕೋತಾನ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಪದ್ಧತಿ ಐತಿ. ಹಂಗಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಯಾರೂ ನಂಗೆ ಟಿಕ್ಳೆದು ಹಚ್ತಿದ್ದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅವತ್ನಾಗ ನಾನು ಈ ಒಂದು ತರಬೇತಿಯನ್ನು ಪಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾನು ಕೆಂಪು ಟಿಕ್ಕಳಿ ಹಚ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುವಂಥದ್ದು. ನಾ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾದ ಒಬ್ಬ ಮಹಿಳೆ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಇರ್ತಾಳೆ ಹಾಗೆ ನಾನು ಇರಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಆದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ನನ್ನ ರೀತಿಯೇ ಯಾರಾದರೂ ವಿಧವೆಯರಿದ್ದರು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ನನ್ನ ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ತೋರಿಸಿ ಅವರನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಮಾಡೀನಿ ಅಂತಲೂ ನಾನು ಹೇಳೋಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀನಿ.
In this effort to ensure diversity, we had to address the caste issue. You know, in rural communities, it's a very, very sensitive issue. For example, initially in 2003, in the 2 taluks of Bagalkot and Bilgi, the dominant caste group, the Lingayats, had a modest representation of around 28 link workers. By 2008, with recruitment increasing from 75 to 128 link workers, the number of Linkayats increased to 61. Meanwhile, the representation of scheduled caste and scheduled tribe in comparison to the Lingayats appeared not to have increased in the same pace between 2003 and 2008. But in terms of percentage, we were still successful to retain just about 30% representation, and that representation actually became a critical mass within the project. Similarly, if we look at the profile of link workers in 2003 and in 2008, 2/3 are under 30 years of age. And if we take the magic figure of 24, 25, which we call as young link workers, we get a critical representation of 1/3 link workers. This is significant because NSEP 3 is striving to make the link workers team as young as possible to ensure that this vulnerable section is addressed in a concerted manner as much as possible. All this in turn impacted the kind of educational qualification we were looking for. It is clear that a sizable section of link workers had educational qualification of either intermediate pass or 10 standard. In the beginning, we made 10 standard as a cutoff mark, but we couldn't stay with it forever. Because as soon as we decided that we wanted link workers from marginalized communities, we could not be rigid about this 10th standard. We had to consider the right person, even if it meant she was 7th standard pass or illiterate. For example, in the case of Devadasi community, it did not matter even if they were illiterate. What mattered is that they belonged to the marginalized community. Hence, in such cases, what we did was we paired them up with a literate volunteer or the project team. We used rigorous selection process from shortlisting candidates to conducting written and oral tests and then interviews. We had to cut down on the informality and ensure that we do not succumb to pulls and pressures.
Key learning that emerges from this segment on recruitment is the fact that it is this very process which to a great extent defined that we walked the talk. It is clear that while the crux of the issue was recruitment of the right woman and man as the link worker, one need not compromise with the norms of recruitment and make sure that this is done both consultatively and professionally.
But even as we are talking about the link workers and the recruitment, let us not forget all this was possible because of the structures that we established. One of the key pillars of the structure was the supervisor. Having been recruited first and asked to get the project initiated in the field, they began the process by building rapport with the community, dialoguing with the village elders and leaders. They did social mapping exercises, the search for the right man and the woman in the village, and motivated them and appointed them as link workers. They also created the first level of consensus building for the project at the village. These supervisors were men and women who were selected from a professional pool of people. Many of them are masters of social work. They had done post-graduation in different streams. The challenge was not about their professional skill, but it was about the ability to translate this professional skill into effective community-centered processes.
ನನ್ನ ಮಾಸ್ಟರ್ ಡಿಗ್ರಿನ ಮುಗಿಸಿದ ಕೆಲವೇ ದಿನಗಳ ನಂತರ ನಾನು ಈ ಹುದ್ದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಸೂಪರ್ವೈಸರ್ ಆಗಿ ಬಾಗಲಕೋಟೆ ಡೆಮಾನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಗೆ ನಾನು ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆದೆ. ಸೊ ಆ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ನನಗೆ ಹಲವಾರು ಗೊಂದಲಗಳು ನನ್ನ ಮನಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಮನೆ ಮಾಡಿತ್ತು. ಕಾರಣ ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರೆ, ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲ ಹುಡುಗರ ಥರ MSW ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಲೆವೆಲಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಹಲವಾರು ಆಸೆ ಆಕಾಂಕ್ಷೆಗಳಿತ್ತು. ನಾನು MSW ಮಾಡಿ ಆದ ನಂತರ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಟ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಥವಾ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಈ ಥರದ ಕನಸುಗಳು ನಮ್ಮ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹುಡುಗರಿಗೆ ಇರೋ ಥರ ನನಗೂ ಸಹ ಇತ್ತು. ಆದರೆ ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬಂದು ಸೂಪರ್ವೈಸರ್ ಆಗಿ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆದ ನಂತರ ಇಲ್ಲಿರುವಂಥ ಸನ್ನಿವೇಶ ಅಥವಾ ಇಲ್ಲಿರುವಂಥ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ನಾನು ಅಂದ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ತುಂಬ ವಿಭಿನ್ನವಾಗಿತ್ತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ನಾವು ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಟ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟ್ರು ಅಥವಾ ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಟ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟ್ರಲ್ಲಿರುವಂಥ ಸೇವಾ ಸವಲತ್ತು, AC ನೋ ಫ್ಯಾನೋ ಈ ಥರ ರೂಮ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕುತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮಾಡೋಂಥ ಕೆಲಸ ಅಥವಾ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ಪ್ರತಿದಿನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಫೀಲ್ಡಿಗೆ ಓಡಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಅದು ಸಹ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾದಂಥ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಅಲ್ಲ. 35ರಿಂದ 40-42 ಡಿಗ್ರಿ ಇರುವಂಥ ಬಿಸಿಲಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಓಡಾಡೋಂಥ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿತ್ತು. ನಮಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಮಯಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂದರ್ಭಕ್ಕೆ ತಕ್ಕ ಹಾಗೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಸೇವಾ ಸವಲತ್ತುಗಳು ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ನಮಗೆ AC ಫ್ಯಾನ್ ಹೋಗಲಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕ್ಕೆ ಟೇಬಲ್ ಚೇರ್ ಸಹ ನಮಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲದೇ ಇರೋಂಥ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಕೆಲಸನ ನಾವು ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕುಡಿಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನೀರಿಲ್ಲ, ನವನಗರ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಆಗಿತ್ತು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಾದ ಊಟಕ್ಕೆ ಸಮಯಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂದರ್ಭಕ್ಕೆ ತಕ್ಕಾಗೆ ಊಟ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಊಟದ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆಯೂ ಸಹ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಆಗಿತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಅಂಥ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನನ್ನ ಕೆಲಸನ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದಂಥ ಅನಿವಾರ್ಯತೆ ಒದಗಿ ಬಂದಿತ್ತು. ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದಂಥ ಅಂಶ ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ನಾನು ಮೂಲತಃ ಹುಟ್ಟಿ ಬೆಳೆದಿದ್ದು ನಾನು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದ ದಕ್ಷಿಣ ಭಾಗ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಮಲೆನಾಡಲ್ಲಿ. ಅದು ತುಂಬ ಕೋಲ್ಡ್ ಕ್ಲೈಮೇಟ್ ಇರುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರದೇಶ. ಆದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಸಡನ್ನಾಗಿ ಈ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿಗೆ ಬಂದು ಒಕ್ಕೊಳಕ್ಕೆ ನನಗೆ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಸವಾಲುಗಳನ್ನ, ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಕಷ್ಟದ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿಗಳನ್ನ ನಾನು ಎದುರಿಸಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಇಂಥ ಒಂದು ಸನ್ನಿವೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ನನ್ನ ಕೆಲಸನ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗ್ಲೂ ತುಂಬ ಚಾಲೆಂಜಿಂಗ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು.
The sharing by Satyanarayanan gives us an idea about the day-to-day challenges faced by supervisors. By coping with these challenges, supervisors charted the path for link workers.